There is an Italian personality which is generally acknowledged to be communicative and emotional and passionate in speech and gesture even. Is the Italian vocal style an extension of that Italian personality also?
I think he's not Italian, he's Latin. I mean,
Latin.
Even the Spanish are the same, most of the French singers are the same, some Romanian are very, very similar to us, Italian. There is a kind of intensity in the value of the word that we give to the word, and that is, I think, is typical of this particular school. We would say Italian or better Latin school.
Latin.
You can sing in this style. You can sing everything because it's legato, is expressive. And is everything if you do well, very obviously.
Mm-hmm. One of my earliest memories is hearing a recording of Caruso singing the flower song from Carmen, which he sang in Italian.
It can be even in Italian with the word, but if you sing in French, it's the same because the style doesn't change. The
style can be the same.
The style is the same. The style is the same.
But, now, on the technical level, vocal coaches, teachers, and some singers have talked about, or many talk about placement of a tone,
yes,
and how a tone can be placed in the head or the chest or from the diaphragm. We all know that the tone always comes from the larynx region.
Yeah.
But why is it useful to imagine or to talk about placing a tone here or?
I think there is a certain note that a singer does, then they are a little unnatural. So this note, they must be put somewhere differently than the body will tell you. So that is the reason why you study. That is the reason why there's a big difference between a big voice and a big singer. Mm-hmm. Because a big voice, sometimes when it's singing an aria, it can be lost in the aria, it can be cracked, it can have trouble. A big singer, no. Because a big singer knows how difficult is the root and how he has to save the voice in this point to be able to jump in the other point. And that is the secret. And the secret is very small secret that everybody knows, but very few does.
There's something almost magic about that to me, because let me give you an example of rock singers who have their own art form, I guess. They have all the amplification they want at their command and can have a microphone that close to their mouth, and yet some of them abuse their voices and do burn out, not to mention their ears. But where a classical singer without amplification has got to be able to project and reach the back of the house. Yeah. How do you sing loud like that and not hurt your voice?
I always say, and you are right, saying loud, I always say that singing opera is screaming with control.
With control?
Yes, it is. It is exactly. It is to copy a child who is screaming in the cradle. He's always making the same note, but he's going on the entire night because he's using the diaphragm. He's using, you will see the boy, the kid, the infant, and so the real secret is to use the diaphragm. To use the diaphragm in the way that every time you attack one sound, the voice is always, the diaphragm is always there supporting the voice. That is a kind of exercise, mental exercise and body exercise that you have to do to be ready. You must always be ready. And that is not easy, not easy. And then sometime when you are not ready, then you miss the second to breathe. It can be a catastrophe.
Then you can do a little harm.
It can be a catastrophe. If you are an old fox, you can navigate, but the breathing is the most important thing. I think you can be a good singer if you don't have a great voice, but the voice is totally under the control, and it's mean under the diaphragm control. And you can be a great singer, even if the voice is nothing special. You can have a fantastic voice, and if it's not under the diaphragm control, one night you sing a phenomenal performance, the night after you make a disaster.
When you said if you're an old fox, you can maneuver around, I've on a couple of occasions talked to singers who had trouble talking because of momentary laryngitis, and yet who had to sing, and they did it, and they said they sang over it.
Yeah,
What does that mean?
very simple, because the laryngitis is just at the beginning, probably in the first ring. And if you talk, you don't push with the diaphragm. If you sing, you do.
So
And so when you do, you go through that kind of resistance.
that's
And you
astounding.
don't do talk. You talk like that, and you can go out and sing.
Yeah, because that's what I heard.
Yes.
Somebody talking like that, and still they managed to sing.
Sometimes,
Yeah.
not all the time, but sometimes it
Yeah.
can happen.
Yeah. I suppose if it's bad enough, you just
You
have to
should
wait.
never, theoretically, you should never try to sing.
I see.
This condition, theoretically. But then,
That's remarkable. Now, this is another technical thing. I may be off base on this, but it seems to me I heard once that a singer in learning a song or aria, it goes through 3 steps. He learns the music, he learns the words, and then he puts it into the voice. And I'm not sure I know what is meant by putting it into the voice.
to put it into the voice is, for example, there is in any voice 3 notes, then they are generally in natural. And they come. For the tenor is F, F sharp, and G. So you have to make these notes artificially and make the notes sound like they are natural. So to put the voice, to put the aria inside your own voice, you have to consider very much these 3 notes. And then you have to do until it becomes flexible, something that is natural.
And
if you are demanding with yourself, and you are able to do, for example, one difficult passage 100 times if it's necessary, you have a result. If you are light in judging yourself, you will say, okay, either it's good enough, either I am unable to do better. And I hear this phrase so million times in my profession from other colleagues. Sometimes I have said the phrase myself.
Really?
I'm a very demanding person with myself, but sometimes I say it to myself.
It surprises me that you mentioned those 3 notes, because I would have thought maybe the top 3 would be the tough ones, up to
The
high
top
C.
3 is the final jump. When you jump the 2 meter in high, the most important thing is, and then that's what you will do.
Oh,
if you
I see.
take the right measure to arrive to the final jump, you do right. If you don't, you
Then you don't make it.
turn down.
That's right. We were talking earlier about regions and different national personalities and singing style. And I was wondering, England has produced relatively few great bel canto singers, where America, now out of the Midwest and the South, are beginning to come some pretty good talent there. Is that because of the wide vowels and the...
No. It's because the opera, until let's say 40 years ago, it was made in the language of the city in which you make the opera. So Covent Garden in English,
Oh, sure.
Vienna in Deutsch, or something like that. What's happened? It happened that nobody can become a great Italian singer in this style if he's singing in another language. Now, lately, let's say the last 15 years, I think the singers at school here, they learn Italian perfect, or at least decently, and they are even with the other. So, because America, for example, has so many talents, sport you have immense. You may have the multitude, not just the quality, but you have even the multitude in America. So having so many is the fact is then now you are the best school in the world. The best group of singers are the American, because they are coming very strong.
It's interesting. I remember when, maybe this is when it started, but the baritone Lawrence Tibbett was one of the early ones who learned Italian opera. And Richard Tucker, who was one of the few non-Italians who I think toward the end of his career really mastered Neapolitan.
Very well. Very well. In the style, in the color, because, okay, if you go deep to talk about Italian is really sun. When a tenor voice sings is a sun. It's Naples. That's for sure. And Richard Tucker was like that. I learned from Jean Pierre's Rigoletto record.
Is that right? Yeah.
And it did help me more than 5 years of studying. Because I put my voice more in the nose, a little higher here, and it become diaphragm, throat, out higher here. It was very good. For Rigoletto was perfect.
I heard you once when I was in my car in Arizona, and I heard a Saturday broadcast, this is years ago, of I Portitani.
Oh my God, it was years ago with John Sutherland.
How long ago was that? Because
I think it was 78.
it was a 70,
More or
I think you're, yeah.
Yeah.
And it blew my head off because I said, I have not heard singing like this since the
It was a
glory
very
days.
good performance.
It
I have to
was.
say,
The-
it was very difficult opera. The one can be the most difficult for tenor. Just thinking about, I need to drink.
No, but I mean, when I heard you sing I Portitani then, that's the first time in my mind I said, now we do have a successor to Gili.
Yeah, great compliment,
I felt
thank
that
you.
way about it. I heard once, and I don't know whether this is true or not, that your father once said to you that he would let you know when he thought that you were on a par with Gili.
You know when he told me
No,
that?
when was
He
that?
told me that when he heard that performance of
Was that
Portitani.
it? Yeah, that was it. And
But
he said
that
a
performance,
wire.
he said, now we are here.
Now that's what
Because
I
every
heard.
time, I mean, I begin in 61, so 61, 78, make a good shot.
Yeah, I'll say.
He says, every time he says, oh yes, but Gili made better this, yes, but Caruso, but I said, thank God.
And now he
I
finally
mean,
did,
you make
yeah.
big comparison. In that performance, he said, well, you are at the level. I
Yeah.
say, thank you very much.